Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles.
She said, "My therapist says you're the source of my anxiety." I nodded and said, "I see." Then I packed my bags and left a note like a polite ghost. Problem solved. You're welcome. The panicked texts I got 24 hours later told a different story, mostly along the lines of, "Wait, where are you? This feels a little extreme," and my personal favorite, "You're really gonna abandon me like this?" I'm Malcolm, 31 male. Guess I should have seen this coming. Hindsight, they say, is 20/20ths. In my case, it's more like one of those red string on a corkboard conspiracy diagrams, but sure. Let's say 20/20ths. Looking back, the signs were everywhere. But sometimes you're too close to the dumpster fire to smell the smoke until someone hands you a fire extinguisher and says, "Hey, buddy, your relationship's on fire." Vanessa and I had been together for years, living together for 2. She started therapy about 8 months ago after her job went through a rough patch. And by rough patch, I mean her boss was a walking HR violation. Genuinely awful guy. I encouraged her to see someone. I thought therapy would help her vent, find peace, maybe pick up some stress management tools that didn't involve passive-aggressively slamming cabinet doors. At first, it was great. She'd come back from her sessions glowing like she'd just found inner peace at a yoga retreat. She talked about boundaries and self-care and journaling. I was all in. You go, girl. It felt like I was dating an Instagram life coach trapped in a Bath and Body Works catalog. But by month 3, the vibe changed. Suddenly, every session seemed to come with a subtext. "You're the problem, Malcolm. Dr. Waverly says you exhibit controlling behavior because you asked about my spending." Right. Because me saying, "Hey, maybe don't buy another $60 crystal shaped like a frog," is basically domestic espionage. My bad. My therapist thinks it's concerning that you want to know where I'm going when I leave the house. Oh, cool, yeah. Apparently asking where you headed when she grabs her keys at 10 p.m. is a red flag now. Just wanted to know if I should keep dinner warm or call a search party. Then came my personal favorite. We explored how your need for a clean kitchen is actually about power dynamics. Power dynamics. Because nothing screams authoritarian dictator like asking if maybe, just maybe, the dishes from last Thursday could consider a visit to the dishwasher. I started to feel like I was living with a walking psychology textbook that had become self-aware and declared me its case study. Every normal relationship thing became some kind of diagnostic criteria. Asking if she wanted takeout for dinner? Controlling. Mentioning the sink looked like a biology experiment? Power struggle. Worrying when she didn't come home until 4 a.m. and didn't text? Ah yes, textbook toxic masculinity. I tried to talk to her. I sat her down one evening, trying my best not to sound like I was trying to gaslight her, which, by the way, had also recently made it into our regular vocabulary bingo. "Vanessa," I said, "maybe we could try couples therapy? I want to understand where you're coming from. Maybe a third party could help us communicate better." She blinked at me like I'd suggested a blood pact. "No, absolutely not. That's not what I need." Shot that down immediately. Dr. Waverly says that's what controlling partners always suggest, to manipulate the narrative. Apparently, my idea for couples therapy was less open communication and more emotional waterboarding. Good to know. The real kicker? I started walking on eggshells in my own home. I mean, forget eggshells, these were landmines. I'd run every question through 3 layers of internal approval before opening my mouth. Asking "Do we have milk?" felt like submitting a proposal to a hostile board of directors. Household stuff? I gave up entirely. Just quietly did everything myself like a neurotic little cleaning goblin. Dishes, laundry, vacuuming. I even lint rolled the couch. Did she notice? No. But Dr. Waverly probably had a theory on how the lint roller represented patriarchal oppression. Eventually, I started spending more time at my buddy Tobias's place. Not because Tobias is great company, he still thinks crypto is a personality, but because it was the only place where I could breathe without triggering a TED Talk on emotional boundaries. Then came Tuesday. Long shift, logistics job, medical supplies, the usual chaos. I come home, ready to collapse into a chair and let gravity do the rest. But there she is, Vanessa, sitting on the couch like she's about to deliver a keynote. Therapy journal in her lap. Face set like she's rehearsed this in front of a mirror with flashcards. "Malcolm, I need to share something important from today's session." "Oh, excellent. Another episode of Waverly's World, now streaming live in my living room." I sit down, genuinely curious what new revelation Dr. Waverly has conjured this time. Maybe I have abandonment issues. Or unresolved maternal trauma, because I don't like incense. We've been doing deep work on my anxiety, and we've identified the source. She pauses. Dramatic pause. Almost like she's waiting for a drum roll. "It's you." Of course it is, I thought. Why blame the pandemic, the job stress, the toxic boss, or her mother's Olympic-level passive aggression when you can just blame the guy who buys the groceries and scrubs the toilet. Dr. Waverly says, "You're the primary source of my anxiety, and I need to consider what that means for my healing journey." I sat there for a good 30 seconds, just absorbing, processing, internally screaming. For years of standing by her through every chaotic career change, her mom's constant backhanded compliments. "Oh, you finally put on makeup today. That's nice." The juicing phase, the sound bath obsession, that one time she wanted to sell everything and move to Costa Rica to raise alpacas. For years of getting blamed for everything short of the moon's gravitational pull. And now I'm her anxiety generator, like a gas leak in human form. I looked at her, took a breath. "I see," I said. She blinked. Clearly, that was not the reaction she prepared for. Think she expected some sort of rebuttal, maybe tears, begging, a vow to do better and be less triggering. Instead, I stood up, walked to the bedroom, and pulled out my duffel bag. "What are you doing?" she asked, trailing behind me, still clutching that therapy journal like it was gospel. "Solving your problem," I said, folding shirts with the calm efficiency of someone who just snapped and found peace in the chaos. "If I'm the source of your anxiety, the solution seems pretty straightforward." Her mouth opened and closed like a goldfish trying to argue with a blender. "That's not. Dr. Waverly says we need to work through this together. You can't just leave." "Actually, I can. And I am." I grabbed my laptop, chargers, and the important documents from the filing cabinet. Birth certificate, passport, the sacred folder of adulting. You know, the stuff they never teach you about in school, but expect you to somehow know when life goes sideways. "I'll get the rest of my stuff later," I said. Calm, measured, professional even. The apartment was in her name anyway, so that was one less thing to fight over. Hooray for dodging a lease dispute. That's when the panic started creeping into her voice. "Malcolm, this is exactly the kind of dramatic reaction Dr. Waverly warned me about. You're proving her point." "Right. Of course. How dare I respond to being labeled the living embodiment of her anxiety by quietly packing my socks and leaving? Clearly a tantrum. I zipped the bag with the finality of a man sealing off a chapter. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just tired of being someone's therapeutic punching bag. She blinked. "Either way, your anxiety source is removing himself from the equation." I left a note on the kitchen counter like a passive-aggressive but oddly courteous ghost. "Problem solved. You're welcome. I'll stop by Saturday afternoon for the rest of my things. Please be out." Drove straight to Tobias's place. He didn't ask questions. Didn't psychoanalyze me. Didn't tell me I was manifesting power imbalances with my choice of backpack. He just handed me a beer, pointed to the spare room, and grunted, "You want the good pillow or the lumpy one?" That's a real friend. The text started rolling in 19 hours later. Wednesday evening. First one buzzed my phone while I was halfway through reheating pizza. 6:42 p.m. This is so immature. 6:46 p.m. Dr. Waverly was right about you. 6:58 p.m. You can't just abandon me like this. 7:10 p.m. This is emotional manipulation, Malcolm. Ah yes. Nothing says please come home like a digital guilt trip with the emotional warmth of a DMV clerk. Then around 10 p.m., a tonal shift. Like the angry intern at customer service had been replaced by the PR department. 10:02 p.m. Hey, can we talk? 10:04 p.m. I may have miscommunicated what my therapist said. 10:07 p.m. Please come home so we can discuss this like adults. 10:15 p.m. Malcolm, this is really unfair to just leave without talking. Right. Because 4 years of unpaid emotional labor and getting lectured about how cleaning counters was a sign of narcissistic abuse wasn't already a conversation. Then came Thursday morning. 6 a.m. My phone started doing its best impression of an alarm with abandonment issues. 15 missed calls. A wall of texts. Rapid fire. 6:03 a.m. The electricity bill is due and I don't know the password. 6:07 a.m. Where did you put the router? The internet is down. 6:10 a.m. I can't find the insurance cards. Malcolm, please. Ah yes. The administrative apocalypse. Here's the thing. I handled all our household admin passwords. Bills. Insurance. I even color-coded a spreadsheet, like the over-functioning adult I apparently was. I tried to show her. Multiple times. Even printed it out. Every time, it was the same. Ugh, you're so much better at that stuff. Translation. I don't want to, please do it forever, and then apologize when I don't know how the Wi-Fi works. Then, around noon Thursday, the kicker text. The piece de resistance. The cherry on top of the accountability sundae. 12:03 p.m. How am I supposed to afford this place on my own? Rent is due next week. I almost responded to that one. Almost. The how am I supposed to afford this place on my own text. It had just the right mix of drama, entitlement, and unintentional comedy. But then I remembered something. 3 months ago, I'd suggested, gently, mind you, that maybe we should look for a cheaper place. You know, since I was shouldering about 70% of the expenses, and my spine was starting to resemble a financial pretzel. Her response? Delivered with full therapist-approved confidence. Dr. Waverly says financial anxiety is often about control issues. Maybe you should explore why you're threatened by our lifestyle. Yes, our lifestyle. The artisan candles in every room lifestyle. The weekly float tank therapy lifestyle. The handmade dog treats for a dog we don't own lifestyle. A lifestyle I was paying for. Then came the next series of texts, this time all about her car. My check engine light is on. The registration sticker expired. Why didn't you renew it? I don't know where to get an oil change. Lady, you're 29 years old. You own crystals that cost more than your engine repair deductible. Figure it out. Google exists. And if Dr. Waverly hasn't yet explained how dipsticks work, I can recommend some videos. Then the social media posts started rolling in. Nothing directly about me, of course. She's way too elevated for that. Just vague, finger-wagging nonsense. Going through a challenging time. When people show you who they are, believe them. Surrounding myself with healing energy as I navigate this abandonment. Abandonment. I didn't abandon her. I literally executed the exact solution to the problem she presented. She said I was her anxiety source. I left. That's called results-oriented healing. You're welcome. Tobias showed me her Instagram story while we were sitting on his couch eating leftover wings. There she was, sipping something neon green at that overpriced smoothie place with her friend Jacqueline, who, fun fact, once tried to charge $50 for a Reiki-infused bath salt workshop. The caption, self-care isn't selfish. Right. That caption hits different when it's posted by someone who was just texting you they can't afford rent. I guess overdrafting your checking account for a dragonfruit kombucha counts as spiritual alignment. But Friday? Friday is when it got really interesting. Her mom, Phoebe, started calling. Now Phoebe and I have always had a complicated relationship. She once told me I had the energy of someone who would rather be doing something else. Not wrong, but still rude. I didn't answer. But the voicemail, was a performance. Malcolm, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is not how adults handle problems. Vanessa is devastated. She's had to borrow money from me for groceries. Call her immediately. Groceries. Groceries, Phoebe. Vanessa had a fully stocked fridge when I left, organic, locally sourced, grass-fed everything. Plus, she had $400 in emergency cash she always kept in her jewelry box, tucked neatly under her manifesting abundance vision board. But sure, 2 days later, she's suddenly destitute and begging Mother Dearest for oat milk and gluten-free pita. Then Saturday came. The day of the great exodus. I sent her a simple text that morning. I'll be there at 2 p.m. for my things. Please be out as agreed. Her response to my text? I'll be here. We need to talk. Of course she would be. What's a dramatic final act without the main character lingering in the frame with tears, candles, and unresolved issues? I showed up at 2 p.m. sharp with Tobias and his truck. The same truck he's been threatening to replace since 2017. It rattles like a haunted dishwasher, but it gets the job done. Vanessa was there, waiting. Full makeup, hair done, wearing the exact dress I told her looked nice on our anniversary. Oh, and she'd lit candles. Candles. Because nothing says let's talk things out like adults like trying to seduce someone with mood lighting and the faint scent of sandalwood and desperation. Malcolm, please, let's just talk about this, she said, stepping in front of me like she was the romantic lead in a low-budget Netflix breakup movie. I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. I walked past her, straight to the bookshelf. No misunderstanding, I said, tossing my copy of Dune into a box. You were clear. I'm the source of your anxiety. I'm removing myself. This is what you wanted. That's not what I meant. Dr. Waverly says. I stopped mid-pack, turned to her. I don't care what Dr. Waverly says anymore, Vanessa. I'm done being the villain in your therapy narrative. She trailed behind me as I moved through the apartment like some tragic backup dancer, alternating between tears and fury. You can't just leave me like this. What about the bills? What about my anxiety? I didn't even look up. Your anxiety is your responsibility. As for the bills, they're all in your name. Your apartment. Your bills. She stared at me like I'd just suggested we sell her essential oils collection on eBay. But you know I can't afford this place alone. Then maybe you should have thought about that before deciding I was the source of all your problems. And there it was. The shift. Like someone flipped a switch. The tears stopped mid-drip. Poof. Dry-eyed. Cold. Composed. You're really going to be this petty over one comment. One comment. Vanessa, I've been your therapeutic punching bag for 5 months. Every week you come home with a new dysfunction. Dr. Waverly has diagnosed me with. I'm done. That's when she reached for the big guns. This is financial abuse, she shouted, arms flailing like she was on a soap opera. You got me used to a certain lifestyle, and now you're yanking it away. From across the room, Tobias let out the world's most disrespectful snort as he wrapped my gaming console in bubble wrap. Vanessa's head snapped toward him. This is none of your business. He didn't even pause. Just here to help move boxes, he said, casually lifting my monitor like a guy who's helped too many friends survive breakups. But I saw it, the eye roll. That slow, deliberate eye roll of a man who's been listening to this drama unfold through group chats for months. As we headed toward the door with the last load, Vanessa grabbed my arm. Please, she said, voice trembling. I'll tell Dr. Waverly she was wrong. I'll switch therapists. Whatever you want. That's what she said, tears streaking down her cheeks like she was in a movie no one asked to see. I didn't even respond. I just stood there thinking, lady, this isn't a negotiation. It's a fire drill, and you're the fire. What I want is to not be someone's anxiety source. Mission. Freaking. Accomplished. We drove away. Me, in silence. Her, still standing in the doorway, no longer crying, nope. Just staring. With this look I'd never seen before. Or maybe I had seen it, and just ignored it because I was too busy doing mental gymnastics to justify staying with someone who thinks therapy is just a stage for monologues. That was 6 hours ago. The texts already started again. Of course. This time with a new vibe. It's like she went full cirque du psychotic on me. The extinction burst has officially evolved into what I can only describe as a reality tornado. After Saturday's move out, glorious, by the way, the messages shifted into this weird medley of love bombing and vague legal threats, like some chaotic playlist with no skip button. Text 1. I've been thinking about all the good times we had. Remember our trip to the coast? We were so happy. Ah yes, the coast. The one where she screamed at a pelican because it looked judgmental. Text 2. Not even an hour later. I found your old college sweatshirt. It still smells like you. Ma'am, that thing's been in a cardboard box for 3 years. If it smells like anything, it's mildew and disappointment. Text 3. My friend is a lawyer. What you're doing is illegal abandonment. I have rights. We were basically common law married. Sure. And I'm basically Iron Man. Also, fun fact, we don't live in a common law state. But thank you for the legal insight, Your Honor. Oh, and her lawyer friend? She's a paralegal. In real estate. I doubt she even knows how to spell abandonment without a template. But the true highlight, the real cherry on top of this anxiety Sunday, came Monday. I got a call from my boss. Apparently, Vanessa had gone full soap opera and called my workplace. Let that sink in. Like, really sink in. She called HR. She told them she was my domestic partner and that I was having a mental health crisis. Said she was concerned and thought they should know I'd abandoned our home and was acting erratically. Y'all. Fortunately, I've been at my job 6 years. My boss knows me. Knows I don't lose my mind. I just occasionally misplace it behind sarcasm and coffee. So he calls me directly. Hey, Malcolm. Just got a weird call from HR. Let me guess. Domestic partner drama. Oh yeah. Your ex-girlfriend apparently thinks you're having a breakdown. Yep. According to her, I'm a danger to myself, society, and probably breakfast cereals. I gave him the quick version. Explained everything. No spin. Just the unfiltered greatest hits of Vanessa's breakdown ballads. He actually laughed. So, she told you that you were her problem, and you solved it. And then he said it. That's the most Malcolm thing I've ever heard. Is this going to be an issue with HR? Nah, I said. I'll handle it. But maybe document everything. You know, just in case she escalates. She escalated. Tuesday morning, I get a notification that I've been tagged in a Facebook post. I don't use Facebook much, mainly because it's a retirement home for boomer drama, but there it was. Vanessa, typing like she was trying to win a Pulitzer in melodrama. She had written this long, meandering post, Shakespeare meets Tumblr, about emotional manipulation and financial abuse, and how her partner of 4 years had suddenly abandoned her, leaving her unable to pay rent or buy food. Tragic. Now, she didn't name me. No. She just tagged me and half our mutual friends. Subtlety died a painful death somewhere between emotionally manipulative and left me destitute. The comments? A buffet. Most of them were generic stay strong types from people who don't know either of us, the kind who post vague quotes about healing and burn sage in their bathrooms. But then there were the real ones. The MVPs. Bryce, God bless that socially anxious man. We'd had dinner with him and his wife a couple times. He commented, "Didn't you tell us last month that your therapist said Malcolm was toxic and you needed to set boundaries?" Chef's kiss. She deleted his comment within an hour. R.I.P. Bryce's truth. Then came Wednesday. Oh, sweet, chaotic Wednesday. I get a text from an unknown number. It's a screenshot of a Venmo request for $1,847. Attached is a message. Hi, this is Jacqueline. Vanessa asked me to send this since you blocked her. This is her half of the rent and utilities you owe. What? Her half? Of what exactly? The apartment she told me I was making her anxious by existing in? The one that's solely in her name because she didn't want entanglements? She says, and I quote, "You know this is fair." Sure. And I know unicorns do taxes now. I didn't respond. Mostly because if I started, I wasn't sure I'd stop at words. Thursday. Another unknown number. Of course. This is Dr. Waverly. I'm reaching out because Vanessa has expressed concern about your recent behavior. Oh, her therapist now. While I can't discuss her treatment, I'd like to encourage you to seek support during this difficult time. Abandoning a partner suddenly can be a sign of deeper issues. I have some colleague referrals if you're interested. Her therapist contacted me. I screenshot everything, texts, DMs, the whole digital circus, and sent it off to my buddy, who, unlike me, paid attention in law school and actually became a lawyer. His response was immediate and almost musical in tone. This is wildly unethical. Save everything. Do not respond. But Friday? Friday was the chef's kiss. The piece de resistance. The moment you tell your therapist about while they quietly scribble in their little notepad. Phoebe showed up. Yes, Phoebe. Vanessa's mother. At my job. Security buzzed me from the lobby. Malcolm? There's a woman here. Says she needs to speak with you about a personal matter involving her daughter. And there she was. Phoebe, in all her suburban glam glory, clutching a designer purse like it was a hostage situation, eyes wild with righteous maternal fury. I went down mostly to prevent a scene, or worse, a Facebook live stream. Malcolm, this has gone far enough, she said, immediately taking the tone of a principal about to hand out detention. Vanessa is distraught. She can't eat, can't sleep. Phoebe, I cut in. She posted Instagram stories from 3 different restaurants this week. I didn't even have to scroll that far. Tacos on Tuesday, sushi on Wednesday, bottomless mimosas on Thursday. I was half expecting a Michelin review on Friday. She's trying to heal. Sure. Through tapas and sangria, apparently. You've traumatized her. Now that one made me laugh. I left when she said I was the source of her anxiety. How is that traumatic? I mean, do I come with a trigger warning now? You know she didn't mean it like that. Dr. Waverly explained it was about working through issues together. Then maybe Dr. Waverly should have been clearer. And maybe you should ask yourself why a 29-year-old woman needs her mother to confront her ex at his job. That landed. Her eyes darted for a second. But the Phoebe PR machine didn't stay down long. She's desperate. She can't afford that apartment. She'll have to move back home. Oh, there it was. The truth, served lukewarm. Phoebe didn't want her daughter moving back home. Not because of concern. Because it would be inconvenient. That sounds like a Vanessa problem, not a Malcolm problem. Phoebe gasped. Hand to Pearl's moment. How can you be so cold? You loved her. I did. I absolutely did. I loved the person I thought she was. Not the person who spent months making me the villain in her story. At this point, security had started doing that slow, polite hover they do when a situation goes from mildly awkward to we might be on a viral TikTok soon. Phoebe noticed. This isn't over, she hissed, going full Disney stepmother. My daughter deserves better. She absolutely does, I said, nodding. She deserves someone who makes her less anxious. Which is no longer me. Win-win. She stormed out, purse swinging like a medieval flail. Security asked if I wanted to file a report. I told them no, but asked them to at least make a note of the incident. You know, just in case I needed to play receipts later. That evening, it was like a wizard pulled this summon drama card. My phone lit up with mystery numbers like I'd unplugged grandma's life support to charge my phone. All variations of the same basic nonsense. You're heartless. She's falling apart. Real men don't abandon their women. I hope you're happy destroying her life. One message even called me a coward in khakis, which was weirdly specific. I haven't worn khakis since 2019. But here's where it got interesting. A few messages actually made sense. Like Vanessa's cousin, for instance. She DM'd me on Instagram of all places. Hey, just wanted you to know I don't blame you. She's been like this since we were kids. Nothing is ever her fault. Well, damn. I almost sent her a fruit basket. Then there was a former co-worker of Vanessa's who'd seen her soapbox rant online and decided to chime in. Same thing happened when she left our company. Everyone else was toxic. Nothing to do with her showing up late every day and stealing someone's lunch because she had low blood sugar. College roommate. Yep, she weighed in too. She went through 3 therapists in school. Fired one because he said she might be projecting. Kept the one who told her everything was her mom's fault. Honestly, I started to feel like I'd been inducted into a very niche support group called Survivors of Vanessa's Emotional Hurricane. By Saturday morning, I woke up to 47 new texts. That's right, 47. I didn't read them all because I enjoy sanity, but the ones I skimmed made it clear Friday night had turned into a drunken sleepover version of a political rally. Vanessa had gathered the troops, by which I mean her enabling friends who peak in emotional crisis, and launched a full-blown smear campaign. Posters, chants, probably a group WhatsApp with a name like Justice for V. But then, plot twist. Tobias's girlfriend works at the same wellness center where Vanessa does her life coaching. You know, the same place that hands out certifications like Oprah hands out car keys. Anyway, Tobias's girlfriend overhears Vanessa on the phone. No, he has to come back. I can't afford, no mom. I'm not moving home because it's embarrassing. I'll figure something out. Pause. Then she drops the bomb. Maybe if I tell him I'm pregnant. What? It worked for Jacqueline. I have never, in my entire life, been so deeply grateful for a vasectomy. I swear I lit a candle for my urologist. But the real kicker? Saturday evening, I get another text from an unknown number. This one didn't call me heartless. Progress. Turns out, it was from Dr. Waverly's supervisor at the clinic. Apparently, Vanessa's therapist messaging me directly? Yeah, huge ethical violation. Like, you just tanked your license level stuff. I guess when I didn't reply to Dr. Waverly's little concerned therapist novella, she panicked and tried to cover her tracks by claiming she was worried about a potential domestic violence situation. The supervisor was very professional, like clipboard and clench jaw professional, but you could tell he was pissed. The kind of pissed where every sentence is punctuated with a breath through the nose. We're investigating a complaint about inappropriate contact, he said, voice flatter than a budget airline seat cushion. Can you confirm whether Dr. Waverly reached out to you regarding a current or former patient? I didn't even say a word. I just sent them the screenshot of Vanessa's lovely midnight therapy outreach. Very healing energy, very I'm totally not crossing a boundary here. They thanked me, said they'd be in touch if they needed anything else, which, knowing them, probably meant never again. Classic HR. Then Monday rolled around like a flaming wheel of garbage, and Vanessa's texts took a panicked turn. Vanessa, what did you do? Oh boy, here we go. Vanessa, Dr. Waverly is in trouble because of you. She was just trying to help. You mean help by violating every professional standard in the book? My bad. Totally forgot I was supposed to ignore that. Vanessa, you've ruined everything. Again. Ah yes. Me. With my nefarious screenshot. Just me. Here. Out in the wild. Screenshotting with reckless abandon. Clearly the villain. Then came the email. Subject line, financial arrangement proposal. Already off to a strong start. It was from Phoebe, Vanessa's mother/part-time litigation parrot. She actually itemized a bill like this was a divorce settlement. I'm not kidding. She used bullet points. 3 months rent, so Vanessa could adjust. $5,700 for emotional distress compensation. $3,000 to cover therapy since I'd now need to find a new therapist. $2,000 in lifestyle adjustment support. $5,000 for general support because apparently existing is expensive. Grand total? $15,700. That's right, $15,700. And the email ended with, we believe this is more than fair considering the circumstances. Payment plan can be discussed. I forwarded it to my lawyer friend, Elm. His reply? Elm, please tell me you're going to frame this. Tuesday, things got even better. Tobias's girlfriend texted me that Vanessa had been let go from her part-time coaching gig at the wellness center. Apparently, sending your mom to confront your ex at his job isn't a great look when you're branding yourself as a trauma-informed life coach. Also, her little Facebook post had backfired spectacularly. Apparently, when you publicly accuse someone of ruining your life, people start checking their receipts. My DMs turned into a Yelp review section for Vanessa. She did the same thing to Trent in 2019. Said he was toxic. He left. She tried to destroy his life. I was her friend for years until I set a boundary about lending her money. Suddenly, I was triggering her trauma. And then came this gem. She owes me $800 from 2021. Blocked me when I asked for it back. That was rich. After everything, the crystals, the journaling, the 2-hour monologues about holding space. All it took was me asking for my gaming laptop back and boom, blocked. But the real karma? Oh, that came the following Thursday. Remember that apartment she couldn't afford? The one where I was financially abusing her by not continuing to pay for it after we broke up? Yeah, that one. Vanessa, bless her delusional little heart, came up with a solution so inspired, it deserved a standing ovation. She posted on Facebook. Seeking conscious, mindful individual to share beautiful space. Must respect healing journey and therapeutic process. No toxic energy. Translation, must not question me, must nod during my TED Talks about astrology, and preferably come with Venmo ready. Enter Miranda, 23 years old, Just graduated, bright-eyed, hopeful, probably still thinking horoscopes were a personality type. She was excited about living with a wellness coach. Cute. Miranda lasted 5 days. 5. I found out because she DM'd me on Instagram. Apparently, my name came up during a passive-aggressive sound bath, or whatever. Hey, I know this is weird, she wrote, but did you used to date Vanessa? I just need to know if I'm crazy or if she's really like this with everyone. We met for coffee. We trauma bonded over oat milk lattes. Miranda's stories? Next level. Day 1, there was a house meeting. Not about chores. Not about utilities. No, about Miranda's energy. Yes, her vibe was causing Vanessa anxiety flares. Day 2, Vanessa told her she couldn't cook certain foods in the apartment because the smells were triggering. Specifically, garlic. Because garlic apparently activated cellular memory. Day 3, Miranda tried to chill in the living room at 6:30 p.m. Big mistake. That was Vanessa's integration time post-therapy. Day 4, Miranda asked where the recycling bin was. Vanessa tried to charge her extra for emotional labor. I don't owe you that information, Miranda. You're draining my inner child. By day 5, Miranda was begging for a sage exorcism or just a normal roommate, whichever came first. And the best part? Vanessa had told the landlord that her partner would be handling rent like always. Bold of her. When the rent didn't show up, she blamed me. Of course she did. Landlord called me. I was still listed on the lease as an emergency contact. He sounded confused. Hey Malcolm, quick question. Why are you late on rent for an apartment you don't live in? Me? Because I'm not a moron. I clarified everything. Oh, he was not amused. Miranda moved out and stayed with a friend. And the landlord? Started eviction proceedings faster than you can say chakra misalignment. Last I heard, by the cosmic grapevine, Vanessa had to move back in with Phoebe. Dr. Waverly lost her license to practice. No one was surprised. When your professional advice includes, maybe your partner's just a mirror for your unresolved trauma, and you say that while holding a crystal shaped like a dolphin, well, the medical board eventually takes notice. Vanessa? Oh, she's trying to reinvent herself, again. Last I heard, she was aiming to become a life coach. Because apparently, if you ruin enough of your own life, you qualify to give other people advice. Before that, it was wellness coaching, but turns out screaming affirmations at kombucha doesn't pay the bills. She's dating someone new now. My condolences to that poor scumsucker. I hope he likes long text messages about how his tone is a little hostile for 9:32 a.m. Phoebe? Still emailing me monthly, asking for money. Still convinced I owe her because I once borrowed her umbrella in 2017. She signs off every email with namaste. It's always the ones who owe you emotional damages that feel the boldest about invoices. As for me, I'm doing great. Actually great, not the Instagram caption over a sunset great. Got a promotion at work. Apparently, when you're not living under a constant cloud of emotional sabotage, you become more productive. Who knew? Started seeing a real therapist. Like, someone with actual credentials and a couch that isn't covered in sage ash. She's never once suggested that my existence is someone else's problem. Refreshing. And, plot twist, I started dating someone new. She thinks asking about her day is caring, not controlling. Wild, right? The first time she said thank you for listening, I almost called 911 because I thought she was having a stroke. Nope, just a healthy human being with empathy. Tobias, my best friend, summed it up best last week over wings and beer. He goes, bro, she really told you that you were her problem, and you just nodded and left. And it broke her brain. She was expecting a dramatic fight for the relationship, so she could cry about how you never listen. And I said, right? But instead, I packed a duffel and pieced out like a Zen monk. Tobias said you skipped the whole toxic back and forth for 6 months thing. That's legendary. Yep. Sometimes the best response to someone telling you you're their problem is to simply remove yourself from the equation. Problem solved. Oh, and for those still wondering. Yes, I kept the screenshots. Yes, I documented everything. No, I never responded to any of them after leaving. And yes, I thank the universe every day that when someone looked me in the eye and said, you're my source of anxiety, I said duly noted and left. Best decision I ever made. Vanessa tried to contact me last week. Through LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Because nothing says deep emotional growth like cold emailing your ex via a professional networking site. She says she's been doing deep work, has realized she projected her issues onto me, and would like to meet to apologize properly and discuss potential reconciliation. I didn't respond, but I did check her profile. She's still living with her mom, according to her updated location. Guess some anxiety sources are better left in the past. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.